past that, we're going to be talking about someone I just mentioned a second ago, Rich Brian. We're going to be going over Rich Brian's new album, The Sailor. He's setting the shore. He's setting aside on the seven seas. I think I said something there that made some sense. Ahoy.
Ahoy.
Rich Brian, Indonesian MC, member of the media collective label 88 Rising, has other members like Joji, Higher Brothers, and he started it off as a viral sensation because of his song That Stick, where he had a deeper voice for someone who doesn't look like he had that deep of a voice.
Also, he wears like a fanny pack.
Yeah.
He's just like the nerdiest dude ever, making this like super hard music video. It went viral on Twitter. Like, I was thinking about that today, just like where he started out and where he is now. In 2018, he released his debut album, Amen. We tried to be more of like a poppy kind of space, and it didn't really work, but I could still tell that the effort was there. And he was also featured in the 88 Rising record, Head in the Clouds, along with like everybody else on the label. And he was highlighted, I think, as one of the better or best members of the label, but he did have some like weaker moments when he seemed a bit too cheesy, and I don't think he was utilized to the best of his potential.
Yeah, I think when he was put against other members of the label, he did seem like he was a top tier of that label.
Oh yeah,
and he did.
But
seem
like the majority of the time, though, we were getting like Joji and Nikki.
No, it wasn't Joji. It was August 08 and Nikki. Those were the biggest.
I only saw August 08 a couple of times. Joji was like on every track.
No, he really wasn't. Comparative. It was August 08 more. Nikki was the biggest problem.
Nikki was the biggest.
But moving past that, this new album, 12 songs, 44 minutes, and I wasn't really expecting Rich Brian to really put out anything this year. I was hoping he was kind of taking a break. But it kind of follows Rich Brian in this new phase of, I guess, we're getting a lot of albums recently about fame and where it puts you in society.
There's a lot of newer members out there. Like, not a lot, like, we'll talk about this later.
I don't think that's
somebody like Inspector Deck is not talking about this kind of thing anymore.
Because he's dealt with it.
Yeah, but like thinking about like Kanye's Graduation. That was his third album out where he talked about something like fame. Or Vince Staples' Prima Donna.
Yeah.
Talking about fame, like earlier on in the career. But like these are some early players in the game that aren't dealing with that quite yet.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying it's just general
explanation.
Yeah. But it kind of deals with that concept of fame and where Rich Brian is currently at the moment. And I really didn't care for this that much. And like, I think it's an improvement, but really, at the same time, I feel like he's kind of where he was to begin with. Because I think production, he's better spaced. There's kind of like weird chamber pop kind of moments on here where we're getting mixes of like grand orchestral moments and pop music. We're getting shades of just like normal trap, which is used to being over, but we're also getting like boom bap, which is kind of cool. So a nice mix of kind of like these weird kind of almost psychedelic moments being thrown off the side, and like it feels like moments like Rich Brian kind of separates from his reality and kind of goes internal, which is interesting sounding.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the most part, he just doesn't really have a lot to say, and he seems very confused. Like the ideas on this project, he doesn't really have figured out, which could be the space he's in on this album, is he just doesn't know where he is. He's very lost, but I'm also lost with him because I don't know what he's really trying to say to me. It's one thing to be lost and depict that lostness, but it's another thing to be lost and not know what to say.
Yeah.
Which I think it just leads to a very confusing project for me, where it's just like I'm trying to figure out what the main point is and where he's going, and you don't know where you're going if you're lost. You're just trying to figure out the main point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's kind of difficult to pick apart exactly what he's saying if he doesn't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of sucks because I think that the rest of this project is really awesome.
Yeah. Actually,
I really like the production on here. Of course, especially moments like The Sailor and Rapapapa with RZA. Kids is a very brassy and boombastic like track. I really love it. It almost reminds me of like Mac Miller kind of production.
Yeah.
Which it is really fun to listen to. Drive Safe. Vacant I really like. And No Worries as well. I think Rich Brian could be in Brockhampton. That's kind of what it sounds like.
But then he does 100 Degrees, and
it's not
that
good.
It's like 100 Degrees is like a mix of Juice WRLD, Post Malone, and it just his vocals can be good sometimes.
Oh, I know they can be good because they were good on the track before.
Yeah, like I think sometimes I just don't know what he was doing. I think it could be the pitching. I think it could just be the emo rap because there's shades of emo rap through his entire thing.
For sure.
And it's kind of off-putting because he's never really kind of done that before, at least to this extent. He's always been more in like a just a traditional like trap braggadocio instead of like a more emo space, and I feel like we still get that. Like the beginning of Sailor is that trap braggadocio, and I feel like a lot of moments he does have that trap braggadocio, and I forget what track it is, please forgive me. It's Curious, where he's talking to this group of girls, and one of them is very like stuck up, but he's also really stuck up, and he's acknowledging the fact, and then they have sex, and then he's imagining I never want to do that ever again or something along those lines.
I like his storytelling.
I like his storytelling on that because
it's something very similar to that on Amen.
Yeah, it's using your braggadocio for good. It's using your character for good, which is nice. Being introspective with your external personality.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
But we get moments like Where Does the Time Go with Joji, where I think it kind of pairs well too much to the point where I feel like Joji's almost kind of meaningless in the track.
Yeah.
Because they kind of become one person, and it just sounds like Rich Brian's vocals kind of work too well with Joji's to the point where it's just like Joji's a part of the beat.
He could have just sung it himself.
It could have been like Joji just been sampled in the track, and it would have worked just as fine.
Yeah.
But we get moments like The Sailor, which has this very hectic beginning to this very Kendrick Lamar damn intro where he's going to the convenience store. First, he's hungry.
Nobody shoots him, though. A girl just tells him to open his eyes.
But it's like that same mantra where you're starting your album with something like very abstract and weird. And it's just like because it's just...
I went to the moped store. It's like, what up? What's your budget?
That's not the beginning of that album, though.
That's the second track.
But it's just that feel, I guess, of just like encountering an unknown force and just... It doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the album.
For Damn, I don't think it did because he gets shot and it's just like there's no point, I guess. But in here, I feel like it almost plays off that like Asian stereotype kind of thing that he's been kind of fighting against, where the girl tells him to open his eyes, and it's like something else I want to mention. Some of the harmonies on here that he like doesn't necessarily sing, they're very like Beatles-esque.
Yeah.
Very like Sgt. Pepper, like Magical Mystery Tour feeling. But I really like that. And then Rich Brian's like, fuck you mean I can see just fine. And like Kendrick Lamar would have been like, let me take you to the beginning of the story. And Brian's like, I can see just fine. Like my eyes are open. What are you talking about?
But it's just that like grandeur to it that it just doesn't really imply. I wish we got that RZA part instead. The Rapapapa at the end with the RZA, I wish that was put into the end of The Sailor. Because I think that makes a lot more sense. RZA does a terrific job. And I think even though the Rapapapa section where Rich Brian's just literally talking about having sex a lot to the RZA section, that doesn't make really a lot of sense with the crossover. I think at The Sailor would make a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm confused with this thing. I don't know what to make of it, really. I think it's an improvement, but for a sense, I also feel like it's kind of a downgrade because I'm just so confused with it.
I definitely think it's a huge improvement over Amen because I found myself being able to get through this and like wanting to see more.
Yeah.
It left me hungry for more, I should say. And I think that the production is just a huge step up. If I have one other, not even nitpick, but like just one other problem with where Rich Brian has not mastered the art of a shorter song.
Yeah.
Every song on here just about is like 4 minutes or above, and that gets really tiring.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
I also feel like there's just too much material on this thing.
Yeah. I think if he could have pared down just a little bit of like what he's talking about, especially like if you're going to come in with a really grand intro like that and end with a more like slow, smooth exit, like Where Does the Time Go? I think that you should have less tracks in between there because I think you should have like something important to say, I guess. But here I feel like there are definitely like filler tracks like Slow Down Turbo, 100 Degrees I could do without. Confetti I'm not a huge fan of. But there are a lot of like other really great production moments, like Kids. I don't even think says anything like super important, but I just love the background. Like I love the beat that much.
I love the fact that he does not use a hook. I feel like the song structure is vastly improved.
Yes.
On that one track alone, and I was just like, yeah, it's the long. I think it's the second longest track on here. It makes sense. And
It's well worth my time. I still find it.
And the textures, the various textures across Yellow, even though I feel like I'm not a fan huge of that track lyrically, I do feel like we're getting segmented big opuses across the thing, and it divides really well, and it makes that like 4 minutes of the track well worth it. So, and song structure improvements, but sometimes he isn't able to make a lot of the main non-single tracks worth the lengths that they are. But keeping in mind that I'll scores a few talent meals right now, I'm feeling a 5 to 6 on this.
I'm gonna give it like a solid 6.5. I'm really impressed with Rich Brian's ability to improve, and I'm super excited to see where he goes next. Because I did have like fun with this record. I think that a lot of the backgrounds were fun, and the production was really fun. But sometimes I think that Rich Brian just got too lost for his own good.
Yeah.